have you ever had an ex that was incredibly hard to get over? And what made him so hard to get over?
That one. For me, I would say it was really like my first kind of love. So I was at a young age. I think I was like 18 at the time when I got with him. So I feel like when you're at that age, especially us women being so emotional, I just felt really attached to him. And even though I'd see him doing a lot, I feel like I'd always want to run back to him. Everything he was doing, he just knew the right word to kind of say. And I feel like I was too good at getting sucked in.
How long were you on again, off again with him? So from 18 to when?
From 18 until I was turning 20. So like nearly 3 years. Okay. No, sorry, nearly 2 years.
Okay.
But that one was very serious. We kept going back. We initially started talking in like 2019. And then by the end of 2021, that's when we called it quits. But during that that time period, we got together about 3 times and broke up 3 times. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
And would you say he was a nice guy or a bad boy?
Looking back now, definitely a bad guy.
A bad boy?
Bad guy.
Bad guy.
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
Just like, obviously, the age I am now and the maturity I have, looking back, there's a lot of things that he used to do. Like, he'll be very good with his words. I know now when certain guys say stuff, they don't mean it. But back then, it's very easy to get sucked in, like I said before. And he just used to always know the right words to say, which can be a good trait sometimes, but in relationships, especially as a guy,
mm-hmm. And what made it so hard to leave? Just because he knew the right things to say? He was selling you a dream?
Pretty much. And, you know, it's that puppy love. It was puppy love for me because obviously that was like my first real proper like relationship. Like we moved in together and everything. So it was very serious. Mm-hmm. And obviously at that age as well, I'm thinking like this is some fairy tale going on, But realising now and looking back at it now, I wouldn't have done so many things that I did do and listened to him the way that I did, if that makes sense.
Okay. You want to go next?
Yeah. I feel like the love that I had is kind of different to yours in the sense that mine wasn't a bad guy. We both really cared about each other, and it was kind of on and off for some time. But he went to jail for like 3 years.
He went to jail?
Yeah, for like 3 years. So
for what?
But he wasn't a bad guy.
No. Okay. So the reason why
we always want to see the good in the drug dealers. Huh?
I feel like a lot of times certain situations, it's a cop-out answer sometimes to say, oh, you know, situation, things like that. But genuinely for this guy, like the way that he was brought up from very, very young was not good, and it kind of like that was the path that was predestined for him. But then he's kind of like got out of it now, and like we're good and everything. But for me, it was very difficult to get over him when he came out of jail. We wanted to get back together, but I was like, you know what, you have to change yourself, everything like this fast. And he took a year to do it. And by that time, I was like, we're not going to get back together. But I was still very much in love with him. But I had to just realize that the amount that I loved him and the amount that I love myself, I'm very solid on what I want and what I do not want from a man. And he had a child as well. And in that time, the year that he took to change, I realized that I do not want to be with someone who already has a child, because I'm selfish. I want to be first for a little bit of the relationship at least. But
did he change in that year?
Yeah, he changed. He did the total 160.
So he was a bit like more of a bad guy before, and then he like changed into more of a nice guy. He was in jail. We can't.
He was always a nice guy. He's very good, got a beautiful heart. But I just feel like he saw that there was another way to live life rather than the one that he had been stuck in for all that time. It just was a thing where I realized that as much as I love him and as much as he loves me and all these kind of things, like there's a greater kind of love. Like I feel like when you love people and when people love you, it's a very selfish kind of thing because it's like, I love you, I want you to be with me and we're going to make it work no matter what. But I was just like, you know what? For the best, for what I want and what you want, we can't just keep on going down this path.
What made him different than other guys that made it hard for you to get over him?
Everyone says that they want honesty. I heard this all the time. We were talking about it earlier, but he was genuinely very honest. If he did something bad, he did something good. Like I had a lot of issues with trust, and even if he did something bad, he was honest, and it kind of made me accept that, you know what, even if I might feel like people are down a wrong road, and I have a stereotype of roadmen that that they're dishonest and that they like to use words, because men know that women want to hear certain things, right? And I feel like men use that to manipulate women. And he showed me that, you know what, someone can go be in that lifestyle, want better for themselves and not manipulate you with words. They could just tell you the truth, and if you don't accept it, you don't accept it, and then you have to sort out what you're going to do from there on.
So you like that he told you what it was?
Exactly, yes.
Okay,
yes,
and that's what made him different. You feel like other guys told you what you wanted to hear, where he told you the truth.
And yes, and also another thing which I think a lot of men nowadays really struggle with is being assertive in a respectful way. Like, he would not allow me, like, I can be a bit, I think everyone can be a bit, push the buttons a bit sometimes, you know, push the boundaries and stuff. But he always let me know, this is not how it's going to be. Do not continue this behavior. And I respected that because he knew the right way to do it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of men do not know how to do that nowadays. They get angry, or they don't know how to express themselves, or they blame you. And yeah, it's just not the one.
Okay. And what about you?
Right. Okay. So when I was going out with my ex, I was very young compared to him.
Mm-hmm.
So
How old were you? How old was he?
Okay.
You're going to be underage, actually. I just feel it.
Yeah, I was 14 and he was 19. Sorry, shock horror, everyone. Yeah, but he actually did ask permission from my mum and dad, because he was like, I really like your daughter, da-da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't like a creep. He wasn't giving creep, okay? He was giving like gentleman, actually. Okay. And he was very kind and sweet, but it was also long distance as well. Oh, okay. So he was living in Holland and I was living here, but he would get like, I think it was like a 12-hour coach every 2 weeks to come and see me. Wow. And he was working like 2 jobs as well at like 19 years of age. But I think from that, because I was so young, he was my first everything as well. Mm-hmm. Like first, well, you know what I mean, like first everything. And so I think that's what kept the attachment for so long. But
how long were you with him?
3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Yeah. But I think because I was so young, I think I was just so excited that like an older boy had liked me, really. And when I look back on it now at 21 years of age, I'm thinking, I don't think that's too right. Mm-hmm. If one of my friends would come to me and say, I like a 15-year-old, what do you think?
Why did your parents allow that?
Because they saw how he was.
Because he was a nice...
Yeah, and
he was a good dude.
I was literally begging them as well. Like, if your daughter's crying, like, I love him. You know what I mean? What can you do?
Right.
But I think the attachment is because I was so young. Mm-hmm. And I think I was with him for that long because I was so young and also didn't really know what I want. Mm-hmm.
So you would have said he was a good guy, though? Like overall, not a bad boy, good boy.
No, he wasn't a bad guy at all, but I'm in a relationship. I'm in a relationship now.
And what made him different was that you were young. It was your first like guy that you were with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, literally. But I look on it now as in it was an okay experience, but we also broke up in between as well. And that's, I think, because I was so young, I like missed the love and like the kind of like he kind of led the way through everything. So I think that's why I went back, but I actually broke up with him because I was bored.
You broke up with him because you were bored?
I broke up with him like 3 times.
Just because you were bored?
Because I was bored, because what do we have in common, really? What do you have in common with a 14-year-old and 19? Like, we are actually in different paths of life. And then he was long distance as well. And it's just, I was growing up and I was starting to like other things and I was starting to actually know what my type was, maybe, you know? So yeah, that's the reason why I think I kept on going back, because of the age.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I can kind of relate to some of what you're saying there, because my first relationship, I was 16 and he was 20 and he was already a father. And again, my mum did not want me to date this guy. She would literally pin me down to stop me from going to see him.
What was wrong with him?
The fact that he had a child and he was 20.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was like, that's not what you want for your 16-year-old daughter. But yeah, I fell head over heels in love with him. I moved out of home when I was 17, got my own place. He moved in with me. So we were having a very adult relationship from the age of 17. I did end up breaking up with him because actually what was interesting was I ended up taking on quite a masculine role in that relationship. I started earning very well and he wasn't. And I was then paying for everything. And I lost respect for him, to be honest. And I kind of made it known. It kind of came out as quite an outburst one day. And I was like, don't you feel embarrassed about the fact that every time we go to the movies, I'm getting my purse out. And every time we get, and all this. So
And how old were you, did you say?
So at that point, when I broke up with him, I was getting on for 19.
Okay, so you were with him for 3 years.
Yeah. Okay. Broke up with him, but I loved him, really loved him. He retaliated when I brought that to attention by throwing furniture around. So I was like, right, you're out. That was that.
He was a bad boy too.
Well, it actually wasn't, but he was so ashamed that it was like he reacted by just throwing a drawers, like punching the wall. But I'd never seen that side of him before.
Oh, okay.
He was soft as a kitten up until that point.
And then you said, I pay for all our dates. Like you yelled at him and then he started punching the wall.
Yeah. But and 3 years, I'd never seen that side of him.
Okay.
But at that point, I was like, pack your bags, you're gone,
and then,
right?
Then you had to kick him to the curb.
I had to kick him to the curb. He had to go.
Had to go.
Right? But then when he moved on and got into another relationship, I then started to feel like, actually, maybe I still love him and wanted to be with him. So it was almost like when someone else wanted him, I wanted him back. And then it actually took a while for me to get over him, which was strange.
Wait, so you were good, you were moved on, then you found out he was dating someone else and you wanted him back.
Yeah, he wanted me back,
Did
obviously.
you get him back or no?
No. So he actually was trying to get me back for a period of time. I didn't want to know. But then the moment he got with somebody else, it was a bit of a toxic trait in me, I then wanted him back. And that time it was too late because he'd then moved in with someone else. And it actually did take me a long time because I sort of thought, maybe he is my one true love,
Right.
He made a mistake, but he's still a good guy and I still love him. So it did take me a while to get over that one, I think, because it was that first significant relationship.
What about you?
Interesting. Okay, so mine is a little bit chaotic, I guess. My ex-partner and the father of my children, I met him when I was 14 years old.
What is it with?
No,
how old was he?
He was. So I was 14. He was 16. So we were still
a little better. I was like, what is it with this?
Oh, honestly,
what do you guys do in England, my lord? Like, what is it?
This feels a bit groomy. Yeah. So he was my first ever boyfriend, and when I met him, I remember this. I was at school, and I met him. He came and chatted me up at the bus stop after school with his friends, and I thought he was the most handsome guy that I'd ever seen in my life, and I was super flattered that he was talking to me. So we dated. I say we dated. We were in a little bit of a relationship for maybe like a year. And then he broke up with me. And I was heartbroken. I think at that time, I really convinced myself that I loved him and that I was mature enough to know what love was. And my friends and my family were like, no, he's not for you. He's not. They were obviously seeing something that I didn't see because you're in that bubble of being in love and this juvenile sense of, oh, he's my everything. Like at 14, I don't think you can know what your everything is. So we were together, first kind of intimate experience and things like that. And I think that I put that, I held that to quite on quite a pedestal, that I was intimate with somebody for the first time. And so this must be love and we're going to be together forever. Our relationship came to an end when we was, I don't know, I think maybe like a year later, I was about 15. And I saw other people and things like that, but he would always contact me. So it would be like, we wouldn't speak for maybe like 6 months or something. I'd change my number and then I'd randomly bump into him in the street, which just kept fueling this sense in my mind of, oh my God, we're clearly meant to be together.
When did the kid come in? Did you say he was the father?
Yeah.
When did the kid come in?
So we got back together. I would say, again, sort of in line with that whole us bumping into each other and me feeling like it's fate, it's meant to be, oh my gosh. Fast forward, I was 19. I'd moved out of my parents. I was living on my own. I was living a great life. I was very happy. And again, I moved into a place And on my first day of living there, I've gone to the local shop, and he's just there. And he's like, this is the pub. The pub next door is where he like cashed his checks after work and stuff. So again, this just fueled this. We're meant to be. This is the universe. This is God bringing us together. So we got back together when I was 19. We had our daughter when I was 21, our son when I was 22. And we had a 10-year relationship.
Wow.
We separated when I was 30. When I was 30, he's only 2 years older than me, so he was 32. And it was very, in the beginning stages, it was very, I wouldn't say it was very toxic, but I didn't see him for what he was. I was just in this bubble of I love him and he's who I'm going to be with forever.
Would you say he was a bad boy or a nice guy?
I would say that I believed he was a nice guy, but in hindsight, he's not a very nice person.
Okay, he's a bad, like, if you had to classify one, he'd be bad boy category.
Yeah, but not like your stereotypical bad boy, like he's got edge about him. More like you're just not a very nice person. You're actually very insecure. You've got a lot of issues in yourself. You project a lot of things. And I think that was particularly when we had our children, we moved away from my parents. So I was quite isolated. I lost quite a few of my friends. I didn't really see my family. So all of my relationships started to take a bit of a hit for this love that I thought was going to be forever. And I would say by the time I got to 29, I started to see it for what it was. And I started to see he was quite narcissistic. I would never want to deform his character and say he was narcissistic. But from my experience, I felt like I was being emotionally manipulated, mentally manipulated and things like that. So we separated when I was 30, and it was actually a bad breakup, like really, really bad breakup. So we haven't been together for 5 years. 4.5, 5 years, and he hates my guts. We co-parent, and he's a great father. I wouldn't take that away from him. My children absolutely adore him, and he adores them. They see him very regularly, but he doesn't even give me eye contact. He hates me.
Why?
I don't mind. To be honest with you, I think that he didn't take the time to heal from our relationship, and if I'm being really transparent, I checked out. In like the last year of our relationship, I checked out. He was doing his thing. He was unfaithful in the beginning of our relationship. It prompted like an open relationship for like a year, which I didn't really want to have, but because he wanted to have it, I kind of agreed with it because I felt like that was the right thing to do. I never stepped out and did anything, but I would like tell him I was going on a date and I'd go to like my girlfriend's house and just chill with her so that he thought I was going on a date because I knew that he would be with someone else. It was really bad, really toxic.
This sounds very
This is very
toxic.
Pammy, actually. This is quite Pammy.
So I'm curious, out of everyone here, who was anyone not on again, off again with the guy?
Well, I would say for the 10 years we were consistent.
You were
but
consistent.
in the first 4 years we were on and off.
On and off.
I've never done the on and off thing.
So you were completely on.
Yeah, I was on and off.
On and off.
I don't know.
On and off.
Because he went in jail is a bit undefined, I guess.
Do you think that women like instability? Because for the most part, everyone's ex doesn't sound stable.
I feel like we don't like it. It's not really a choice with them because
There's no stable men.
there
we can
are.
pick?
My boyfriend is very stable, but there are a lot. I'm very lucky with mine, but there are a lot that aren't. So I feel like if it was up to us, it would all be stable. But there's two of us in it, and always one is not stable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, as a young woman, you have so much choice. Like, there's so many men in the friend zone
That is
you
very
know are
true.
very stable, but we
But-
never pick them.
We don't do. I don't know why we don't pick them. And it's almost like there's like, I don't know, like a thrill of the ups and downs. Like even with my ex, I feel like part of the reason why I was even so attracted to him in the first place is because like he's just unpredictable. Like, you know, them people that are, you can call them bad people, but they're only good to you. It's like kind of I don't know if you kind of understand what I'm saying, but it's like it makes you feel like, wow, like. Oh
Makes you feel special.
I think women like a challenge when it comes to love. I think they like to feel that they've got to win the guy over. I felt that in my younger days. I sound like I'm really old now. I'm not old, still young. But, you know, it was that feeling of like, in some way, like when with the ex, you know, when I saw him with somebody else, it's like I want to win him back, you know, because I felt like I had to prove that I was the better one, you know. I think that you can say that's ego, or pride, but I do feel there is.
It's like
I
a
see it a
game.
lot. Yeah,
It's literally like a game.
I think it's attached to a sense of worthiness, that you don't feel worthy for love just to come easy to you, that you have to work for it. And I know that I experienced that growing up with my mum, breaking up with my dad when I was 3. And I swear to God, that woman probably only in the past few years has got over him. It's taken a long time. So I witnessed that. My mum always sort of pining after my dad in this roundabout way. So that's where I learned that behaviour from, that feeling like love had to be about pining for someone, craving them, rather than them just coming easy to you.
I feel like there's that's one way to look at it, but from my experience, like I have had something that's like kind of up and down and stuff, and I feel like as women, when we get emotionally attached, we kind of feel like, from my experience, I'm like, oh, you know, I know that there might be some flaws in this person, but I've seen people change. They can change too. I know the right way. They just have to see the right way. And I
You
have
really see
patience.
people change?
Yeah, I've changed a lot. Anyone can change, I think.
I feel like people get worse over time, actually. I actually don't think that. I don't know a single person that's changed completely.
It depends which way you flip the coin.
And it
Like,
takes.
you can-
Sorry, go on.
You can either come out of a relationship better, or it can drain you to the point where you feel worse in yourself. It depends about, obviously, the people that you are before you go there in the first place.
I mean, I think I hear a lot of people that say they changed, but then I watch their relationships and they're exactly the same.